I'm Hannah Wallace, and speaking with me now in the lead up to EBAday 2022 is Eugenio Tornaghi from Nexi Group. Eugenio, thank you very much for joining us. It's good to see you again.
My pleasure.
Really good to have you on, and we're covering some big topics today: the European PayTech in the digital payments arena, and what you're doing at Nexi Group. And I know this is the first time for Nexi at EBAday after the merger with Nets and Sear. So it'd be great if you could expand on that, and also what should the economic and financial community expect from European PayTech in the digital payments area. Let's start there.
What we will bring to the not only to the business community, but I would say also to Europe is a big boost to non-cash payment. Nexi Group, as you were mentioning, is a powerful combination of the capacity of Nets, Sear, and Nexi. At the end of the day, we are talking about one of the biggest champions in the PayTech area, and a company that has a turnover of 3 billion. So a capacity of investing that is around 300 million, even more than that. And a company that, a group that is ranging from the Nordics to the south of Europe. And so we can also learn one from the other. I mean, in the group, there is Nets. Nets is by far the leader in the Nordics. And you know better than I do that in the Nordics, digital payments are absolutely a reality that is overcoming cash since quite a few years. So we can learn from their experience, and we also think that we can bring some of the solution that we invented in Italy and in the Southern Europe as well. So if I have to summarize it in a nutshell, we can expect to give, or better, we are sure we will give a big boost to digital payments in the area, because we can count on a big group that can make great investments, that has more than 3,000 engineers and technicians that are working on innovation. So at the end of the day, we think that we will be a great resource for the business community and for Europe as well, because modernizing the way we are paying, so switching from cash to anything that is non-cash, is also a matter of fighting against frauds and tax evasion and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, modernizing the countries.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. That's a really positive note to start on. And speaking of innovation then, and from your vantage point at Nexi Group, tell us which trends will affect those digital payments at a European level in the next few years, would you say?
Well, I think that there is a lot of things going on, and just to give a flavor of what's going on, I would differentiate my answer. I mean, there is a kind of innovation that is meant for retail clients and merchants, and in that area, much has been done. If you think, for instance, to mobile payments, mobile payments are now a reality, and everybody now has the opportunity to use his mobile phone to pay in a very quick and safe way. But much has to be done on the acceptance area, is exactly where we are working on, because just to give you a daily experience, when I go to the airport, I also pay my coffee, because the bar at the airport has the POS reader that is in the right position in front of me. So for me, it's easier to use my mobile phone than to use cash. And this is something that we are working on in order to change not only in the airport, but everywhere in Europe, the way the payment is integrated with the cash register. We are also working on bringing, let me call it, to everybody the opportunity to pay without cash in a very cheap and efficient way. For instance, we launched SoftPOS. SoftPOS is an app that transforms your Android mobile phone into a POS machine. And as you can imagine, the related costs are much lower than buying a post and having a dedicated machine. But on top of that, this can also be used by as a second POS, as an emergency machine, in case that the first one is not working. In a nutshell, I think that when we talk about merchant and retail clients, almost everything is there. Now is a matter of making life easier to retail merchants, bringing instruments that help in transform what is somehow what has been so far somehow dedicated to large amounts or amounts of a certain amount to every day and every transaction, to everyday transaction, let's put it this way. Then there is another stream of innovation that is much more related to us, to the companies that are working in this ecosystem. I'm talking about PayTech like us, I'm talking about banks, I'm talking about card schemes, where the most interesting things are the instant payment and the request to pay. This is not something that will change the habits of the retail customer or the merchants, because as I was saying before, even today you have all the possible means to pay without cash, but it's much more related to the competition among all the actors that are there. And I do think, of course, we are working on that. I do think that all the power of this solution is still to be seen. It's still to be seen on the market. We are still working on that. And then, in my eyes, there is a third wave of innovation that is much more related with, I would say, central institutions. As I think you will remember, we, as Nexi Group today, yesterday, as SIA, we are working very much with the central banks. We are providing automatic clearinghouses, real-time gross settlement, and I think that now what everybody is wondering is how can we deal with these cryptocurrencies. And of course, there are good reasons to take cryptocurrency into consideration because they have characteristics that make this cryptocurrency very efficient in some kind of transaction. But of course, around that word, there is also a lot of speculation and a little bit, I have to say, also of danger. Even more than a little bit. I read recently that the total amount of cryptocurrency is now $1.3 trillion. And we are paying attention to that, as I was saying, and as I was saying at the very beginning, being this big, being one of the main companies in this eco space, we are also carefully looking into that and working on that.
All right, that's really interesting to hear about the three waves of innovation there. Thank you for that, Eugenio. And so tell us, what will be the short-term priorities that they need to take into account that at a European level for those PayTech leaders? What about that?
Well, I think that the top priority for whoever is working in this ecosystem, now that solutions are there, is to make it stable and reliable. It's to make this solution stable and reliable. This is I would say the top priority. They are ready, of course, but is a continuous is a continuous evolution, and so we are continuously working on that. And then, as I was saying at the very beginning, talking about innovation, there's still a lot of work to be done in order to bring all those countries that are not the Nordics to the level of the Nordics in terms of utilization, in terms of use of any payment that is not cash. And as I was saying, we can benefit from the fact that we have the benchmark of the Nordics, so we can also learn from the experience that we have inside the group in order to boost this evolution.
Well, Eugenio, thank you so much for sharing your insights on this topic. Looking forward to talking more about it at EBAday, but we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for calling in.
It was my pleasure. Thank you. Bye.